Hey friends, welcome to the Angular Update Party live stream. My name is Mark. I'm on the Angular team here at Google, and this is going to be a party. First thing, before we get started, the thing that I need from you, wherever you are, put that left hand up just like this, and I got something special for you. That's a high five from me to you because we're so excited to have you. It's going to be a really, really great time. Angular version 12 is out and about. So definitely go and download it, do your NG update and update your apps, and we'd love to hear about your experience. Before we get started with our team updates, where you'll hear from some of the incredible folks on the Angular team, I want to give a shout out to a lot of the amazing people in the Angular community hosting live streams, watch parties, and after parties. So shout out to people like Bonnie over at Angular Nation. We got Santosh Dev, he's doing a live stream as well. After party, Alyssa is doing an after party as well. And we'll put a lot of these links up. And don't forget about our friends across at Angular Heidelberg. They're also doing a watch party. So definitely tune in if you're from one of those communities. So hello to everyone. And this is very exciting. And to kick things off, I want to bring up our great friend from the Angular community and on the Angular team. Please welcome our friend Minko.
Hello, everyone. My name is Minko Gachev. I'm working in the Angular Developer Relations team. Today, I would want to just share a couple of updates with you. So we have been talking a lot about how Google supports Angular, right? We're a team at Google. We have been working on open source for a while, and we have been building these fantastic tools for developers that we are very proud to share with everyone. But we haven't talked too much about how Angular supports Google. Angular supports Google from in the entire process. For example, if you're a Google employee, you'll have to mark, my slides are off, I think. Could you turn them on back, please? No, my slides are still off. All right, let me share my screen. Oh no, my slides are back on. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Can we go to the next slide, please? All right. So if you're a Google employee, in order to start cooperating with your colleagues, you first have to open an issue in a platform that is developed in Angular. This is our Buganizer. If you would want to look up source code in our monorepo, which has a couple of billions of lines of code, you'll have to use another like front end that is developed with Angular. If you are going to make a change in this monorepo, you're going to use your text editor or an IDE that is developed with Angular as well. And to go through a code review process, well, you're going to use an Angular application. And these are just 4 examples of the thousands of others of applications that are developed with Angular within Google. There are also quite a few public-facing apps. For example, Google Cloud Console is one of the largest Angular applications that I'm aware of. It has a couple of millions of lines of code. We also have Firebase Console, we have Google Domains, Google Analytics, and so on and so forth. On these applications, there are about 2,000 developers who are using Angular in order to build them monthly. And we have an internal Angular course in Google that is being taken by about 1,000 engineers annually. And this is only part of the story. This is only the adoption within Google. In the Angular community, we noticed significant growth in 2020. Our public downloads on NPM, although NPM couldn't be considered the most accurate metric since it doesn't include many enterprises who are using Angular behind firewalls or having private NPM registries, we saw a growth from 1.4 million downloads a week to 2.6 million downloads a week in just the span of a year. Also, currently, there are over 1.8 million GitHub repositories that are dependent on Angular core. And as you can imagine, with quite a few developers right now, we're getting a lot of different requirements and a lot of different feature requests and bug reports. So it is interesting to hear more about our prioritization process. How are we trying to address the requirements that developers have from different sources? And Cindy can share more about this.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cindy, Program Manager for the Angular team, and wanted to share just a little bit about how the team prioritizes projects. You know, projects start as good ideas. Good ideas come from a variety of sources, either directly through GitHub or through, a request for comment from you community members out there. But basically, what happens is anyone on the team can suggest or recommend a project, and it can be as simple as putting together a one pager, about 200 words max, that really talks about, what is this project? What's the impact? What's the outcome? What's the benefit to the community that this particular idea is being proposed? The Angular leads review all incoming prioritization project proposals on a weekly basis. There is discussion around the particular project proposal and evaluation. As you can imagine, there's quite a lengthy queue of projects that a backlog, and so during that discussion, each particular proposal is evaluated, and basically, what's the impact? Is this a project that needs to be done immediately? Is it something that can wait a little while, or can it just be put on the back burner, for a while longer? The results of all of that discussion and the prioritized backlog is communicated to the team on a weekly basis. And what is so fantastic about this process is it is iterative. As priorities change, there's a constant review and a reevaluation of every project that is in queue. And at any time, any project can be bubbled up to the top, and we call it, put it back in queue for reprioritization and discussion. So it's a living process, and what I love about it is iterative. So at any time, any project that has a particular priority can be reevaluated. And that's it for how projects are prioritized. It's a great process. It's an iterative process. It's transparent, and it's communicated to the team on a weekly basis. And with that, I will turn the mic over to Jessica.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jessica, and I am a software engineer on the framework team. So today we're going to be talking a bit about what's new in V12. So let's jump into it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the nullish coalescing operator. One exciting change for us is that the nullish coalescing operator is now available in template language. So you can now make that template logic even cleaner with one less ternary statement, which is super nice. I'm sure a lot of you have been wanting to use this in template language for a long time and have been annoyed that it's not been there, so it's now available to you. Next up, we also have some changes with inline Sass. So inline Sass is now supported in the style tag for components. Prior to V12, you could only use it in external resources since it had to be compiled through the compilation step. Now you can just add a simple flag to your Angular JSON, and you can start using Sass in style tags within your components, and that'll make it way easier for you, so you don't have to context switch between different kinds of formats for your styling. Next up, IE deprecation is imminent. So V12 is now going to be showing a warning that IE11 support is being deprecated. And in V13, we're actually going to have it removed fully. So you can look at the RFC if you're curious about the rationale behind the decision that we made about that. But the TLDR is that it allows for compilation at later ECMAScript versions, reduces complexity that we had there just for legacy browser support, and it lets us take advantage of some modern web APIs that we just couldn't do before. So pretty awesome. And then last up is View Engine deprecation. So View Engine is officially deprecated at this point, and in a future major release, it'll actually be fully removed. So this has been a long time coming. We're excited about it. Libraries that are currently using View Engine will still work with Ivy apps, but if you're a library author, you should start planning your transition to Ivy at this point. There's a whole blog post about the details of this change, so feel free to check that out. And now I'll pass it over to Alan to talk about tooling.
Hi, I'm Alan from the tooling team, and today I'm going to talk about what's new in version 12. We kick it off with ng-build defaults to production. New projects now default to builds being production by default, which helps prevent accidental deployment builds being deployed to production. Existing users can use an opt-in migration to convert their projects. Next up is strict mode. By default, all new Angular CLI projects will now be generated in strict mode. Strict mode helps catch bugs ahead of time during compilation. Ivy-based language service has moved from being opt-in to the default, and now it provides better code completions, error reporting, hints, and navigation inside Angular templates. In version 12, the CLI provided opt-in experimental support for Webpack 5. Now, in version 12, Webpack 5 support is production ready and is now the bundler of choice to bundle your applications. And now I'll pass it over to Mark.
Thank you so much. And friends, I get to talk about something that's really important to Angular as a whole, and that is you, the community that helps us to drive Angular forward. So let's have a look at some of the features that were landed by community contributors in Angular. All right, so we have quite a few that landed in this release, but here are some of the notable ones that we want to call out because they're really popular for the community, and this is really phenomenal. So something like avoiding NG zone from throwing a navigation-related warning, that got landed. HTTP client support specifying REST metadata, min and max form validators. We know how passionate everyone is about forms, and the support for App Initializer to work with observables. And listen, Angular is an open source project. Yes, we build it internally at Google, but you all help to drive Angular forward. So your support, you contributing makes Angular better. And we are so grateful to have such a vibrant, supportive community. So keep those requests coming in, those PRs, keep adding them because we love to see it. And together we're building a better web. And so thank you. All right, friends, next up, we're going to have some fun. We're going to spend some time with our Q&A section. But to lead our Q&A, we're going to invite the phenomenal, the outstanding, the wonderful Emma Twersky onto be our moderator.
Hi. Yes, thank you, Mark. Yeah, I'm Emma. I also work on the Angular DevRel team with Minko and the wonderful Mark. So yeah, I think we have everyone back on screen. So let's get some good questions up here. And we have some people in the panel who didn't get a chance to introduce themselves. So maybe Pete and Dave, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Okay, I'll go first. I was going to say, Dave, you go first. And we were both looking at each other like, who should go first? So yeah, Pete, I've been on the team for more years than I can remember from the AngularJS days. I've been mainly working on compiler-related stuff for the last year and some 18N things too.
And I'm Dave. I have been with Angular, I think, close to 18 months now. And I am responsible for our documentation, from planning and strategizing to writing content.
Yep. Awesome. Everyone here is awesome. Okay, let's get straight to the questions. Short and sweet. Okay, our first question is from Florian, and it's, is there underhood work to support local switch at runtime in V12?
I guess I could take this one.
Go for it.
So locale switching, I think what is asked here is where we are able to actually switch from one locale to another without having to restart the app. It's been asked for a few times. This is not actually on our roadmap. The way that localization works in Angular is either static, or you can set the languages at runtime when you bootstrap, but it's not part of the design to be able to switch from one language to another mid-app. So there isn't any work going on to make that happen. The way that we've designed it is driven by various needs to make the framework really fast. And it also correlates well with what the very large projects inside Google use as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's actually some really great talks on why runtime internationalization isn't always even necessary. So I think Pete actually has some good talks on that if you want to check those out. Yeah, let's go for the next question, which is... Mark, do you have one picked? Yeah. Okay. From Selvin, and it's, since Nest.js is using Angular schematics, is there any plan to get closer to the Nest.js team and community? Minko? Oh, Minko, you're muted.
Of course, I'm muting myself twice every time. Yeah, we have been talking to Camille, to the Nest.js. We were talking to the Next.js team as well, though. And we have been having a couple of collaborations on smoother server-side rendering, and also just sharing ideas on how we can improve the integrations even further. If you have any particular ideas on how we can make this even smoother for developers, let us know, and we can revamp our conversations.
I have a question. What's the best way to let you know?
You can reach out to us on social media or at devrel@angular.io.
There you go. Cool. Next question is from Aaron, who might be on another stream right after this, right? And it's, IE support has been deprecated. When is it going to be officially removed? Probably Minko again. Do you want to talk about the RFC?
Sure, yeah. We worked on an RFC in version that we released right before version 12. It was open for a couple of weeks, and pretty much our expectations were confirmed. Most folks wanted us to stop supporting IE 11. There were a couple of people who were feeling more strongly about us keeping support for a longer period of time, but the majority was pretty much on the opinion that we should move forward and we should support evergreen browsers only. So we deprecated support of IE 11 as part of the version 12 release, and we're going to drop support in version 13.
Yes, and there's a great RFC if you want to check that out. It's closed now, but yeah. Okay, let's see. Our next question is from Reactive Fox, and it's, if I want to contribute to Angular, how can I start? And maybe let's split this into two. So if I want to contribute to docs, Dave, how would I do that?
You read my mind, is what you did there. There are a lot of great ways to help out with the documentation. We just published a little bit ago a contributor's guide specifically for documentation. It's available in our doc set. And one of the great ways you can help out is by reviewing content. So you can take a topic, something that you're interested in, read it. Let us, see if it still works for you, see if it's answering your questions. And if it is, we have a little review tag you can even add. And that in turn helps everybody else who comes to that topic know that someone else from the community has verified and read this and made sure that it's working right. Because we try to make sure the content is always up to date, but those of you who are experienced with Angular know there's a lot of content. So having the community help out, that's a wonderful way to contribute. And it's easy. It's really easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those docs do a really good job of sort of helping you get started. And there's lots of issues tagged with docs. So plenty of ideas of how to start. Okay, and then maybe does somebody want to take how you might get started with contributing to the framework? Just quickly.
I can certainly say that I've been working with a few collaborators in the community for the last few weeks, and a few of them have basically pinged me on either Twitter or Discord, and then we've started a conversation, and they've asked for ideas about good issues that they could work on. I think the key is to start small, right? So find something which looks manageable and that you could probably fix in a single commit without having a huge design document, and then try and engage with some of the team members about this. We're all very approachable, and we'll give you feedback and help you push it through. Probably one of the hardest bits is just getting yourself set up. So by finding a small issue up front, then it gives you the opportunity to get used to our processes and the tooling and so on.
Just shared my very first pull request that Pete actually merged to AngularJS back in the day, back in 2013, and it was just adding a missing brace.
Yeah, I think it might have gotten rid of your link, Minko, but mine's the same. I think it was like adding my name to a list in Docs. So, but it's cool. It feels cool. Okay, next question from Baba Tunde is any plan of adding Angular Universal by default to ng new $1 billion idea? Let's see, tooling. Alan, do you maybe want to take this?
Sure. At the moment, there are no plans to add Angular Universal by default. One of the main reasons is that Universal is sort of a community project, and there are also many ways to add Universal to a given project. That's it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a good summary. Okay, let's see. The next question is from Jasmeet, and it's, what will the future of Angular with respect to machine learning be? Ooh, Minko, you're already smiling. Go for it.
I see machine learning as something that can support eventually web developers by providing adaptive and like smarter tooling that can help us build, let's say, faster apps. A couple of low-hanging fruits are, for example, let's say better auto-completion or predictive prefetching. I would recommend you to follow the Angular session on Google I/O next week and get more details there.
Yep. I think there's a good demo literally within the next 7 days of exactly that. So we're very plugged in. Let's see. The next question is from Tomek, and it's material. Is there a timeline for when MDC becomes the default? Let's see. We don't have anyone from components here. I can probably take a shot at answering this. I'm not sure that there's a explicit timeline or version when that flip will be made just yet. There is a large movement, and it is on the roadmap that internally at Google, we are slowly migrating over to those MDC components, and that's the first priority. And then they'll be pretty battle tested because they'll be running with all of Google and eventually become the default in a future version. I don't think that there's a number committed there. Yeah. That said, you can always use them. They're in an experimental repo. And they're experimental, but not too experimental. Let's see. From Bethel is when will Angular support RxJS v7? Lots of releases this week. Is anyone here working with the v7 stuff? Minko, do you want?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. So about a week or like 4 days before the release, Christian from the framework team opened a pull request for supporting RxJS 7 with components and framework, I believe. And we had to decide whether we want to push this part of the version 12 release or wait a little bit just to make sure that there are no surprises. And we decided to wait a little bit. So probably version 12.1 or so.
Yeah, I think there's a public issue or a public PR that sort of lays out the idea for optional support in 12.1. Let's see, from Developer Home, which is clearly a real person. Oh, that question went away. Nope, we're going back. from Anurag is Angular 12 shipping with ESLint instead of the OG TSLint?
Oh,
Who wants
can
to talk
take
about
that.
linting?
I can take that.
Go for it.
So in version 12, new projects will not be created with TSLint, and users can opt in to add ESLint via ngadd. Existing users will need to migrate to ESLint or any other linter using a migration, as the TSLint builder has been deprecated and will be removed in V13.
Yeah. I just migrated a project. It was easy. Let's see. From Julio is, will there be an Angular Tailwind component library similar to Angular Material? Does anyone feel strongly about answering this? I can say with absolutely no certainty, probably not. There's a lot of great component libraries out there. That's the point of open source, but it probably wouldn't make sense for there to be an official Angular team-owned component library with Tailwind. That said, there's lots of great Tailwind demos out there. I can think of Preston Lamb is a Angular GDE who has some great demos on how to get started with it. There's lots on GitHub, but probably nothing official. Okay, from Ganesh.
I think this is our last question, Emma.
Okay, and our last question is from Ganesh, and it's question on preventing unintended production deployment. Could you elaborate on how ng build default to production achieve this thing, set thing?
Yeah, sure. So previously in the package.json, we had a script basically build, which was mapped to ng build. A lot of services out there run npm run build, and a lot of users ended up deploying development builds in production without even knowing. So now by defaulting to production, we avoid this problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think
so
that's all the time that we had for the questions and question and answer for today. Thanks to everyone for just taking the time to answer these questions. I know the Angular team were super busy, so I'm so grateful that we could all come together for the community. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Emma. Thank you for the Q&A moderation. Way to be an excellent host. I got something for you. Bow. That's for you. You get to take that. Okay. All right, friends at home, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us today. Go and do an NG update and get the latest version of Angular running in your applications. Definitely let us know what your experiences are. You can find us at Angular on Twitter, where we're always happy to hear from you. Thanks again to the team. And remember, there are some launch parties going live right now. Check out our Angular Twitter because we had some posts about some of those launch parties as well. And until the next time, friends, thank you so much and go build great apps.